Next up, it is going to be the AC40 Rookies. So AC40 Rookies next, and Josh Williams is going to be on pole position with Archie Gibbs alongside, who crowned himself the champion in the earlier race. Marco Holt and Luke Fitchett will be row 2, Ollie Sims and William Harris row 3, Wilson Dilks and Harry Payne will be row 4. Then it's going to be Brandon Keane and Thorley Trevorrow rounding up the top 10. Byron Johnson and Max Wilson are row 6. Arnie Carr and Noah Goulery will be found on row 7. You have to go to row 8 to find Bailey Lawrence and Austin Johnson. Chloe Saul and Callum Maxwell will be row 9. Izzy Carter and Travis Shaw row 10. Ben Byrne goes off the back of the grid. Riders are in position, and very shortly we're going to see that green flag fall for the last time in 2019 for the AC40 Rookies. For some of them, their last race before they go on to pros, and they will all want to be bowing out with a very good result. And at the front, chasing victory, will be the likes of Josh Williams and our newly crowned champion, Archie Gibbs.
Archie Gibbs will be leaving the series after this race as your champion, and he'll be moving up to the AC40 Pros in 2020. But Joshua Williams qualified on pole position yesterday, picked up the victory yesterday in race number 1. But Marco Holt, who took the double last time out at Rowra, starting from third on the grid, row number 2. He's been setting off like an absolute rocket ship so far here today. So the riders, for the last time in 2019, we have a grid 21 strong for this race, and an absolutely cracking race is about to answer who will take the honours in the last race of the season for the rookies. The green flag drops and away they go. Marco Holt once again from third on the grid, an absolute rocket ship of a start. But Archie Gibbs, your newly crowned champion, already slows into the lead with Luke Fitchett in the third spot. So Luke Fitchett is looking to wrap up second in this race here today, ahead of the 73 of Ollie Sims. So that is a battle for the championship. We will keep a close eye out on with some live championship updates throughout this race. But at the moment, there's a gap opened up between Gibbs, Holt, Fitchett, a bit of a gap back to Ollie Sims. There's a bit of a gap further back to Joshua Williams, your race winner and pole sitter from yesterday. And there's a lot of scraps going on further down the field from Bailey Lawrence, Max Wilson, Brandon Keane, Harry Payne, all making moves further down the field. Izzy Carter, strong start from Izzy Carter, 19th on the grid, she's already up to 15th, so great start from Minnie Rossi in the early stages of this race. But as they come round the final corner to complete lap at number 1, it's your newly crowned champion Archie Gibbs on bike number 3, who crosses the line with Marco Holt, the revelation of the last couple of rounds, on bike number 58, just behind in second spot. A bit of a technical issue for Marco Holt in race number 1, is looking to make amends in that. Different lanes and make their way into turn number 2. Great move there from the number 58. Different lanes, and on the switchback, can Archie Gibbs try and retake the lead? No, he can't. So Marco Holt is showing the form that he showed at Rowra and is already into the lead of this race, ahead of your newly crowned champion Archie Gibbs, with Luke Fitchett already extending. Marco Holt has gone down in front of Archie Gibbs, but thankfully Archie Gibbs didn't collect Marco Holt. So Marco back up into the race, and he's back outside the top 10, but that has left Luke Fitchett in the lead of this race.
Yeah, what a shame for Marco Holt. He's been one of the most improved riders in the class this season, but an unfortunate incident for him there, but he's still got 7 laps to try and make amends, with Luke Fitchett leading out front from Archie Gibbs. Then it is Ollie Sims in third place. The top 3 in the championship, the top 3 in the race, just not in the order they stand in the championship at the moment. Wilson Dilks having a great run in 4th, Williams 5th, then it is Holt in 6th place, Keane in 7th, Payne in 8th, Goulery 9th, Harris was 10th, so Holt dropping to 6th place, 5.7 seconds back from the leaders, but about 3 seconds back from 3rd. So let's see if he can make some places up. Live championship, Gibbs 425, Fitchett 395, Sims 374, Wilson at 232. So Fitchett and Sims, the potential one that could change, and at the moment Fitchett hangs on to second, with Sims going in 3rd place to wrap up his season on the championship podium. So Archie Gibbs has responded to the pace of Luke Fitchett. He's just set a new fastest lap, 59.086. He's 4 tenths back from Luke Fitchett out front. They're heading through turn 2 at the moment, very close indeed. This on lap number 3. 5 laps and a half to go as they come through turn 2. Holt is just about to go down the inside there of Joshua Williams. Can't quite get the move done. Has to sit up on the bike and try again somewhere else. As up ahead, Dilks puts the pressure on Ollie Sims for third. So great battles going on from third downwards.
Oh, look, Fitchett's just gone down. No. So just in front of Archie Gibbs at turn number 7 there. All these hairpins are catching out all the riders. Very slippy indeed, Chris. So Luke Fitchett out of the race lead, but he's still in front of Ollie Sims, which he needs to do. So Ollie Sims is now powering up the inside of Luke Fitchett into turn number 8. Gets his switchback, does Fitchett. So he's already trying to make amends on the mistake that he made a couple of corners ago. I was going to make a point of Marco Holt. Marco Holt is sitting 5th in the championship. If he gets a top 3 finish, he will move ahead of Blake Wilson. Blake Wilson no longer competing in the championship. Done the first 5 rounds of the series, and we've got another crasher out there on the circuit at turn number 7. Turn number 7 sees another crasher, so we're not too sure who that is, but we will give you some information when and if we find out about that. But Archie Gibbs leads away by 7.3 seconds, and the championship looks like this. Archie Gibbs has already wrapped it up earlier on today, but Fitchett stays in second. He will take second in the championship ahead of Ollie Sims, and Marco Holt is running in 6th now. Will move ahead of Blake Wilson into 4th in the championship.
Is that Holt?
We have, yeah, it's Holt again. Holt has gone down at that corner. So he went down turn number 5 a few laps ago. He's gone down again. So bigging up Marco Holt. I'll just stop talking about him now, because every time I talk about him, he goes down. So Chris, I think from now on I will avoid talking about Marco Holt, but potential taking 4th in the championship.
Well, we have side by side through the last corner further back. This is going on for between the number 85, I think, is involved in this, in Wilson Dilks. Might be the Wilson Dilks Ollie Sims battle, in fact, that we are just having a look at now as they come through turn number 2 and into turn number 3. Gibbs is some 5 seconds ahead of Luke Fitchett, who has got himself back into second place, but Ollie Sims in third is under all sorts of pressure here from Dilks, Williams, 2 of them. Oh, and well, it looks as if Sims is, I don't know if he's slowing up here. I don't know if he's starting to grow a problem. He is, because he's slowing down now, and that is going to be that, I think. Not too sure what's going on with Ollie Sims. He gets going again, but no, in fact, I think he's being told that's it, unfortunately. And Ollie Sims, well, not been a nice weekend for him in terms of the end of the season. It's been a difficult end. Big incident yesterday he was involved in, and today further problems. So a real shame, but we must mention, as we won't see him now cross the line, that Ollie Sims has had a absolutely fantastic season and came into this second in the championship. Will leave third in the championship, does get going again, but well done to him on a fantastic season. Well, we are going into the final 2 laps at the end of this one. Archie Gibbs is currently leading the way. He's just under 5 seconds clear away from the rest of the field. Luke Fitchett is second, and behind, Wilson Dilks has now got into third.
Keeping an eye on Fitchett. Fitchett has been taking chunks out of Archie Gibbs' lead in the last couple of laps. So as across the start finish line in the next few moments, we will see the gap now. Archie Gibbs comes across the line with a 1 minute 1.3, but 1.7 seconds faster was Luke Fitchett. The gap is now 2.8 seconds. Luke Fitchett, just like he did in race number 2, is charging after Archie Gibbs after he crashed out earlier on in the race. This is a carbon copy of race number 2, but this time there's no championship on the line. Wilson Dilks is coming under a bit of pressure from Joshua Williams in 3rd and 4th, and Marco Holt, if he stays in 6th behind Brandon Keane, will wrap up 4th in the championship ahead of Blake Wilson, who's no longer competing in the championship after led round number 5 a few rounds ago. But another rider coming back onto the circuit, that might have been Ollie Sims actually, getting the bike restarted, and the bike once again has cut out. So Ollie Sims, as Chris mentioned, has put in a great ride so far this season, but 3rd in the championship for Ollie Sims, 1st in the championship for Archie Gibbs, 2nd in the championship for Luke Fitchett, but that time round Archie Gibbs has retaliated. The gap is now down to 2.1 seconds. I believe that is too big a gap for Archie Gibbs for Luke Fitchett to try and mount a challenge on Archie Gibbs.
Yep, I think it's just going to be a little bit too much, as you said. Luke Fitchett going down, and I think without the falls he's had in the race 2 and 3, could have had 2 victories, but nevertheless it's been a race where Archie Gibbs in the rookies class has made no mistakes. There has been changes behind. Joshua Williams has got past Wilson Dilk, so perhaps Liam can keep an eye on that one. But Archie Gibbs, there's just 2 corners to go in this season for him. He crowned himself champion officially in the second race earlier. Oh, we have an incident behind. We'll come back to that in just a second. But the winner and the champion is going to be Archie Gibbs. Across the line he comes, and Archie Gibbs ends his season with a win. He's champion already, and Archie Gibbs can leave the rookies class with yet another victory in the bag. We've had someone stop further back. That's the number 73 who has unfortunately stopped. So the 73 coming to a stop, which is Ollie Sims. Well, we've seen Ollie Sims a few times, just in different places. Now, we had a faller behind, and I think it was Wilson Dilks.
It was indeed Wilson Dilks.
Was 11 seconds slower than Joshua Williams. So Joshua Williams picks up 3rd, Marco Holt 4th, Brandon Keane 5th, Wilson Dilks 6th, Noah Goulery 7th, Baylor Lawrence was 8th, Byron Johnson 9th. The top 10 in the final race of the season was wounded up by William Harrison. It was Carl Payne, Wilson Sewell, Johnson, Trevorrow, Shaw, Byrne, Carter, Maxwell and Sims, the only non-finisher. But your top 3, Archie Gibbs, the champion, wins the race. 2nd in the championship, Luke Fitchett, 2nd in the final race. And after his win yesterday, it's another top 3 finish, 3rd for Josh Williams in the final race of the season.
So as the race got underway, it was Archie Gibbs that leapt into the lead ahead of Marco Holt. Joshua Williams dropping back, but everyone safely and soundly through the first corner on lap number 1. Marco Holt led the way in the early stages of the race after taking lead from Archie Gibbs, but coming out of turn number 5, loses the rear end. Archie Gibbs has to set up, comes to a stop, trying to avoid Marco Holt. That left Luke Fitchett in the lead of the race. Marco Holt did rejoin and put on a valiant effort to close the gap back up to the field. Moving up into 6th spot behind Dilks, Joshua Williams and Ollie Sims in the early stages of this race. The battle for 3rd was raging on, but it was Luke Fitchett who led the way ahead of Archie Gibbs. But coming into turn number 7, braking too early, loses the front, slides out of the lead of this race into turn number 7. This left Archie Gibbs in the lead, a lead that he would not look back or lose throughout the rest of the race. Luke Fitchett remounted, put on a valiant effort to try and close the gap back down to Archie Gibbs, but it was Marco Holt who went down at turn number 6 once again. So Marco Holt remounted for a 2nd time to try and chase after the riders in front. But Ollie Sims, his bike came into a technical issue, seemed to cut out as he went into turn number 7, pulling the pull cord to try and start the bike again. He tried to start it a number of times, but the bike wouldn't start, and Ollie Sims had to settle for 3rd in the championship. But at the end of the race, it was your champion for 2019, Archie Gibbs, who stopped the advances of Fitchett to try and close him down in the latter stages of the race. So Gibbs from Fitchett. Williams inherited 3rd spot after Wilson Dilks crashed on the last lap, and then Marco Holt wrapped up 4th in the championship with a 4th position in the race. So it was Gibbs from Fitchett from Williams rounding out the final race of the AC40 Rookies for 2019.